Welcome to the second day of the Congress. I'm very happy there are so many people here. Could be more, but it also could be less. And we will introduce ourselves in a minute. But before we introduce ourselves and talk about what we have done in our life, I want you to pick up your mobile phones and scan it and just answer the question that you can see there. What comes into your mind as prejudice or a stigma for women in leadership? So it's really good. Nearly everybody has a telephone. The people that don't have a telephone, shout to the people next to you. Because you can enter as many questions as you want to, many answers as you want to. Oh. So we need more than 2 minutes then, because of technical issues. Okay. Still? Okay. Now it worked. Okay. Let me go there. Let's see what are the words that come up. You can see them. Yes.
Okay. So what do you want to write? Just tell Sanjay and he'll do it for everyone.
Exactly. This is it. Sanjay, please write for everyone.
Sanjay is immediately our crisis leader.
There we go, Rinske.
I need a mail.
Okay, can I have it?
Multitasking. Are you finished? Are you exited? They don't deserve it.
So the good thing is, you know, the way word colours. Back to the QR code? Yeah, we can do that. Somebody who needs a QR code? No, theoretically not, but just to use. Okay. Theoretically not, but just do every word singularly. So there you go. Multitasking was mentioned more than once because the more they get mentions, the bigger they get. I like that they don't deserve it. So to about 50% of mankind, we say you don't deserve to lead. Not technical. Who in this room has studied something technical, like... Funny enough, there are a lot of women. Less paid? Yeah. We are weak. Well, I'm quite sure I cannot throw heavy stones as far as some men can. So yeah, you have the word cloud. So if you think of something during this presentation today, you can add them, and we have the lovely word cloud at the end of our presentation. But with our topic today, we can say we are in a crisis. And what is going wrong?
Well, I think, can everybody hear me like this? Nope? Okay. All right. Well, I think we are in a crisis because globally we have a similar kind of tendency happening where even if you find there's an improvement to the balance, you know, and the diversity balance, not just for women, but generally for people who are of different background, cultural background, different language background, different religious background, that balance is still not visible in the highest levels of government, I would say. I would say there's a lot of layers, you know, in businesses and in government. But for example, I live in Australia. If we look at the upper level of government, the central federal government, it's not people you would normally on average see on the street. They do not reflect at all what the population actually is. So I think that's where the first part of the crisis starts. We always talk tone at the top, you know, top down. If it starts there, how do you fix everything bottom up? So I think that's probably my first observation. I think Silvana will have some interesting insights as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming to this women meetup, but this is not for women, just for women. It's for men too, and I expected more men, because we can't do any changes without men, of course. I'm really yes, I'm really happy that my colleagues from Croatia, Slovenia, Macedonia are here, and I can say that actually the environment where I grew up, it was totally different. Honestly, I didn't face these kind of problems. We were the same, the equality is at the highest level. There weren't any differences. It wasn't possible that one woman is paid differently than men if they are at the same position. It is defined by law. It wasn't possible to happen. Even in my home, my mom cooked, my dad cooked, my brother was cleaning, I was cleaning, so everything was the same, the equal. So for me, this is actually very strange, but I think it's very important to bring this perspective too. I realized that wasn't the same situation in the whole world. And in many countries we know that girls can go to school. But in my school, only criteria for evaluating the effectiveness of girls, boys, their success depend on their talent, on their effort, their learning, nothing else. Honestly, I didn't know what does it mean, gender bias, till later when I start to work in some international projects. So maybe I'll bring some other perspective to this women meetup. And my background is technical background. I graduated at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering, Computer Science, got my PhD, so this is not technical, sounds strange, but someone mentioned empathy, different kind of leadership. I agree, but is it weakness or strength? I always say it's strength, definitely. If you combine compassion, your empathy with decisiveness and be able to make decisions, that's the strength. You're better leaders. And we know now that today these characteristics like communication skills, empathy, cooperation are something that's valuable. And all of us should improve these characteristics. It doesn't depend on gender, regardless the gender. Thank you.
Okay. Then, from my point of view, now I do have a microphone, so we don't have to switch too much. Yeah, from my point of view, I think we are in a crisis because it's not only that we don't have all the people that we actually have on this world that can actually work to the best way and that are supported in their best way to their abilities and not to their color or to their hairstyle or to their gender or whether they feel man or woman or diverse or anything like this. And I think we even start already in school. And because it's like, what do you get when you're a small boy? You get a car. What do you get when you're a small girl? You get a doll. I played with my doll like once a year, and I really loved my little cars and all that stuff. And I tried to build myself a car when I was 5 that I can drive around the world. Didn't work. Didn't get there. Was supposed to run on water. It was a great idea. Didn't get there. And I remember when I went into business, that I put my hair open today because I was like, okay, you have to have your hair tight because it is curly. And in the 2009, curly hair was meant to be you're wild, you're not predictable, so you cannot be employed. And I was like, okay, so this is too curly for European standards, so I had to put it all back and like look lovely and neat and to get my jobs, which absolutely crazy. Why did I do that? You know, I wouldn't do that today, but that I was way younger. So I think we are in a crisis because we really judge people instead of what they can do, while men leaders are always so focused on results to what they are, while theoretically men leaders are not that much that kind of like create relationships. So I think we kind of like really pick weird things, and as a woman, I kind of like let them do that with me in some cases. Well, not the men, like the society in a whole, because it's not only men that do it. Like we do it to ourselves as well. So I think we are in a crisis, and we'll have economic crises and everything. So if we don't work together, we don't get out of it, and we will not save this world anyway. So we looked at all the stuff that makes things kind of like difficult for us as women. But Rinske, my first question, like I ask her, my first question today is there a benefit for being a woman? Me. What are the benefits of being a woman in the business world? Because it's not just negative, right?
No, and I actually made a podcast in the lead up to this session for PECB, where I found it really problematic to comment from a perspective of just negativity, you know, and there's a lot of that kind of charge on this topic. So for me personally, and in some cases it is maybe because I look different from the people on average where I landed in Australia, where I started my career. I'm much taller, I talk different, I'm super direct, but I'm also like really about, if there's a problem, let's put it on the table, let's talk about it as a team. Those things were completely different from the average person that I was working with, and it became really, I was the person they threw into all the too hard baskets. Oh, we have a super difficult project with people who don't participate, they don't like, let Rinske fix it. I didn't even know what the topic was that I was dealing with in that project. And it was just because I was different. So being different can be a massive benefit because people remember you. If I was the same as everybody and I fitted right in and I had the same suit and the same hairstyle and everything, how do I stand out? And when I started my little company, I had to be different because when people needed to remember me, to hire me, I'd rather that they think, oh, that direct woman, no, she's definitely not for us. Instead of saying, who was she? I don't even remember where she was, what she was doing. At least they remembered me. So, and maybe we have as women slightly bigger benefit, not compared to the African contingent, by the way, because I saw some men here with loads of color, which I absolutely love. You know, everyone should express themselves in color. But women, I look around the room, hey, we can stand out, we can do something. So let people, and it's not a sexist thing I'm saying here. I'm saying we have the opportunity to sort of stand out as women, because we're different. And especially in technology-driven, male-dominated environment. I'm also an engineer. I was with 90% men for 7 years in university. Yeah, it was not hard to stand out. At least we have that benefit. Yeah, and the biggest pitfall with it, I will come to later on, but I think the benefits are absolutely there. And it's every downside has an upside in life, I've learned as well. When really shit happens, look as soon as possible, what are the benefits here? Yeah, so I think that's probably enough for now. But yeah, it's there.
Silvana, we do this, sorry, we keep the same direction, it's easier.
Okay, I definitely agree. And you mentioned the most important thing, being different and applying your own leadership approach and being able to say openly what you think. It's something that makes difference and something that make benefits and advantages for the company. And for men, it is important that they understand that. Otherwise, they will not hear what you are talking. You can say something, but it will not be heard. So it is important that you have your own style. You don't have to fit in. You should have your own style. You have to apply your own leadership approach, style, and if you want to show empathy, it's fine to show empathy. If you want to insist on open communication, cooperation, it's fine. It's the benefit now. And finally, it provides benefit and advantages also for the company. So what's The next.
question. Yeah, for me. So I really think our benefits are also in communication. I think that is just the way that we do communicate a bit different as women, and and the trust. If you look at the thing that you have to trust that your children don't, get eaten by dangerous animals or die or have injuries every day, you have to learn to trust to let things go. And I think this is a benefit if we are in business, that we actually trust our teams. And I have the feeling women develop the trust a bit faster than sometimes men. But for sure, it's also a personal relationship that we love to have with our employees. There are some studies that say it's pretty much equal. It depends on the personality, but in general, women go a bit more into personal relationships, and they want to have more the team effort. You know that if you interview women, we always say like, oh, that was the team, and the team did this. And then if you have to say like what you've done yourself, it's a bit more difficult. So this is always this team effort. While on the other hand, like looking for the facts and the results of the project, and also like really at the finances, which is usually a bit more the focus in men. But I think for us it's a benefit, specifically if you're in a crisis. You have to mix it, you have to make decisions, but you cannot get out of a crisis by yourself. You need absolutely your team to support you there. So I think in some cases, in our crises, we as a woman, we do have a good chance for trust and communication to use this. But we want to ask you, is there something that you see as a benefit for women in business that that we have not mentioned so far? Yeah. First slide? Like this?
The cloud?
Yeah.
The cloud.
A lot of points are missing. I mean, I had experience of interviewing women. So the first point I came across, that why women are not sort of getting into leadership positions, is there is something called a imposter syndrome. So wherein women always look at the job opportunity, unless they fulfill all the criteria, they will not apply. So that never should be the case, because HR always goes for all the skills in the world in one single person. So that is the difference between men and women, where women who are perfectionists, they see to it that they comply to all the requirements. And half the women don't even apply, even though when they come for interviews, we find that she has got all the requirements of the job. But she will say that, no, this particular thing I don't know or I do not comply with. Then these women lack mentors in organizations, because they do not have too many women to look up to. Mentor is a very important thing in anybody's career. I mean, unless you have those, because you are walking that path for the first time, you have to have a sort of a pole star to guide your way in the hierarchy. So there are not too many opportunities for women to look up to their women counterparts, that whatever their challenges in rising up the ladder. Then another thing is that this conflict of limited networking opportunities you have, because after office, men will go for a beer or this thing, but you guys have to rush home to look after your kids and families. So no matter how brilliant you are, unless this nowadays world works on networking. So unless you network with the right people, no matter you are a PhD or a master's or robotics or this thing, even if you are half of that, if you have the right networking opportunity, that guy will tell you that, oh, you have this skill. I have right now this position open in my organization. So networking opportunity is something which is very sort of limited to women, because whatever constraints they have. Then another thing is work-life integration pressure. You always have one foot, I mean, even if you come to office, you have to look back to what will, And women are so powerful because the terms in cybersecurity like business continuity, disaster recovery, risk management, you guys are doing all that in your kitchen. When I talk to my wife, oh my, this thing is, you guys are doing inventory planning. I mean, there is not a single day where one particular item is not there. That is called business continuity in cybersecurity. So,
Yeah.
so you are doing it since ages. Risk management.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
What-
very good.
Huh? So risk management, I mean, you do it all the time. I mean, what can go wrong with my house? What can go wrong with my children if the bus doesn't come or there is some problem in the school? You always have a backup plan. That is disaster recovery or whatever it is. So, I mean, these are just terms, but you have not, you were doing it all for donkey's years without advertising to the world that I am a business continuity specialist. Well, men will say, I am a certified business continuity specialist or certified risk manager or these things. So you were there, inborn you were a risk manager, experts thing. So that was one thing. And second is, see what is happening in corporates is that the traits like assertiveness and decisiveness are very, very interesting. So women sort of are scared whether they are going to be aggressive or assertive. So they take a sort of a neutral path. I mean, while men are always assertive or to the point of being aggressive. So there they sort of go ahead of women because women will not take that route. I mean, men don't care. They even to the point of being rude, they are sort of aggressive or assertive. So that sort of trait you have to develop in terms of being visible in the organization. So these are some of the things I had encountered when.
I think actually, since we do have a lot of other questions and topics where a lot of your points already fitted, I would like to include it. Yes, I would like to include these discussions later on and come back to it when we have these questions. So it's really good. You pretty much could have made a group
This
of
was
us
a
here.
great, this is a great illustration of the challenges women have.
But we were actually at what are our benefits? Let's think of something absolutely positive. Do you have something positive?
Because even the list of things you said, you placed each of them on the woman as the woman's fault. Do you not see men's place in making space for women to show how fantastic they are and the skills they have? Each of your list, you blame the woman. It's not our problem to solve. We didn't cause this. It's not our problem to solve it. The whole industry will be more secure with more women participating, more diversity in general. But it's not our problem to solve. And that's one of the main issues. But all you can see is the women are doing this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. And that's what we're faced with every day. We're like, if you want to participate, do more. But we need to be able to participate. The industry has to change. So you're saying about the job application, and if a woman doesn't meet every one of them, change the job application. Don't expect the women to change how they respond to it, because you know the issue. You've just told us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which is, thank you so much. Which is,
I could go on.
can we get the microphone back? Thank you. Yeah. Do we have one more one more mention? There. Positive. I thought. Yes, there's positive. What I think it was very positive what you said, because we also have a topic about quota and something later on, like what. There is an environment that's just like that, but we need to have all of us working together, the men as well, or the environment to actually change. It's a full change process of the society. And it's going to be really difficult. I really loved what you said. And that's what we face, and that's why we are here.
Hi, everyone. So I think the women are the board managers. So they are managing since childhood, then they are young, and then they married. The same thing they are replicating in the business environment also. So when, if I talk about the organization where I have worked with, So they are looking at you that you can manage everything. You can manage your employees, you can manage the task given to you. Even if you are not in office, you are at home, you are working from home, there you can manage. So this manage part is like in blood of a woman. So this is what the other people think in my office. So that's what we are doing it also, absolutely.
Yes, thank you so much. I have one
Thank you.
question just for raising the hands. I see you. Who is not married? Who doesn't want to be married? Okay, who thinks they have to get married? Because we want to buy a house and we only can register the house in both names if we are married. Which is absolutely ridiculous. But you see that there are so many things that actually the society puts onto us where we are like, okay, let's sign the papers maybe, but my relationship is like long. But there are so many things that it's just put onto us, men and women at the same time, because that is the way the society is and what they expect us to be. And if you're different, there's suddenly a law that doesn't make it possible for you to do something. It kind of like changes your freedom.
I would like to add
We had one-
something, just
Yeah.
a few words related to what the colleague said. That's changing the mindset. If you at your home have totally the same partners, mother and father, husband and wife, and it's not wife is not accountable for cooking, it's not accountable for raising kids, it's not accountable for shopping, it's not accountable for anything. Together they are responsible for all of these things, like in my situation is. So I like to be married because my husband cooks, I cooks when I have time, he takes care of our kids, I take care of our kids, so there are no differences. So I have enough time, I'm so confident, I can to apply for business opportunities that I not fit it totally. So I'm sure that this opportunity, even if I don't fit in, if I don't meet all requirements, that's even challenging for me. And I'm so confident that I'm sure that I will be able to handle that. So I will apply, okay, maybe it scares me, but great. Maybe I'll make mistakes, but mistakes teach me more than success ever will. So that's the approach which should change that. All of us are responsible for that, not women. I'm not accountable for raising kids. Not more than my husband.
Yeah.
I'm not accountable for cooking. Honestly, my husband cooks more than 90% of time. So what's the problem? If we think in that way, we are able to do everything, whatever we want.
We had
You-
Bear in the back.
okay.
This guy was first.
I can also take
He was first.
With an excellent point,
Okay.
Silvana,
Please.
that I think we are addressing the wrong gender group here. That accountable for a loan does not help us. We really need to walk into the other room. You know what I mean? Is telling us what we can do and what we shouldn't be doing. We already know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think it's really great to be tolerant, right? Like people want to get married, people want to have children, not everything like this. And I think this is what it's a lot about as well, that it's just different.
Thank you very much. Very interesting conversations thus far. I am married to a woman who is a very strong career lady, and I feel everything. They go through the same thing in the office. They come back at home the same, particularly my kind of society where it's a heavily male-dominated, situation. So I watch her. We both had a PhD in marriage. She puts in twice the efforts to achieve everything I seem to achieve easily, not because I'm smarter, but because she has to scale so many obstacles, at home, in the office, with children. When I come back home, I say, leave the children to stay in the room. She says, no, they have to go. That's because she's been contending with them all over the place, and I just come in at the golden hour, and I feel like the loved person. But just on the positive side, Over the years too, even as an employer, I run a company, a digital forensics company in Nigeria, and I have discovered that women have certain traits which are very useful to what we do more than men. So if I'm doing a recruitment and I see two candidates have the same score, a male and a female, in forensics, I'm going to choose the female for a lot of reasons. Women are very detailed. Women also have an investigative, mind naturally. The men may run about all over the place. That's why you see more male cops. That's because they have to do a lot of running around. But in the forensics world, you are not, running around. You're in one place. And for such a job, women flourish very well. They're very detailed. They're very investigative. And so, I always will give a lady an edge if I have to do recruitment, for that kind of job, which it's very reflective in where I work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we just ask you to, because you introduced our next question, so maybe we go to make a short statement on to our next question. We need the microphone. We only have one in this room. Thank you. On to our next question.
What traits are needed?
Which characteristics
Because you introduced it already, and then we
need
did
to
not
act
forget about you.
competently in a crisis? Okay, because we are talking about crisis leadership, women leadership, and honestly, I'm not expert in women rights or something like that. As I said, my background is technical, but I did some research and found very interesting studies, especially about women leadership in crisis. One of them is Harvard Business Review, and in this study, authors examined 360-degree assessment of more than 60,000 leaders. We know what 360-degree assessment is. Yes, okay. So we can say it's relevant that in this assessment where participate a lot of different people, their colleagues, leaders, managers, or employees, clients. And what was the conclusion? Of course, between these 60,000 leaders were 1/3 women leaders and more male leaders, but final results showed that women were rated more positively than men on 13 of the 19 leadership competencies. It was very interesting. That means competencies that are necessary for successful leadership in crisis. The competencies where women showed especially strong advantage include takes initiatives, learning agility, inspires, motivates others, develop others, build relationship. And finally, the next conclusion of this study was also very interesting, called glass cliff phenomenon. What does it mean? Men usually place into the leadership roles women when the company is already in distress. So the company is in problem, okay, you will take it and you will try to save the company and solve the problem. So at the beginning, at the end, they finally said, okay, we don't want to say that women are better leaders than men, of course, but today, in crisis, we need some specific competencies that leaders should have. And based on this study, these competencies are stronger expressed, and women excel in this type of competencies. So that's the difference.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And making the team look good, or mobilizing a team quickly and inspiring people to come on the journey of a difficult situation. I think we definitely have, well, women qualities in there. I'm not saying every woman has 100% female qualities. I feel more probably 70% male qualities, 30% female, but every human has a mix, right? So we're talking about female qualities, not women as one sort of segment of society. But where the balance between the male and the female qualities is so powerful is a lot of women I hear and see around me are wanting the team look good, don't want to be completely the spotlight person, and possibly, I've always reached out to decisive men, like I'm talking about Sanjay in this, because who immediately said, oh, we've got a crisis, nobody can access the QR code, come here and I'll fix it. Sometimes we need someone who doesn't care what everybody thinks and just make a decision. And I have had huge benefits from having male counterparts, being in that role, sometimes bringing really bad news, coming back to this gentleman here saying, men sometimes just don't care, do they like me or not? Okay, if that's a male quality, once again, I know men who are opposite, but okay, let's say it's a male quality, then we really need that as well, right? So that's where the mix comes in. And I think with all of this stuff, we can't just make it black and white, you know, pink and blue. It has to be that mix of the right people. And authenticity comes to mind here as well, because if people are not themselves, if they try to be someone else, and I've had female managers who really, I didn't know if it was a male or a female in the end. This woman had become, I'm thinking about one specific one who was my first kind of female boss. I honestly saw so many male qualities in this person who really were not her, she didn't get born with that style, but she adopted all of that stuff, and in the end, she didn't resonate with the men, and she didn't resonate with the women anymore, because her own authenticity had completely disappeared. So when we're talking about fixing some of these issues, teaching our kids, you know, to be authentic, find who you want to be, where you want to go, and stick to that path, and don't let the noise on the outside blur the message in the inside. That's where this stuff really comes down to, I think. Because we can talk for another 500 years about inequality, diversity, and all that stuff, but if people don't get taught in school or in the family who they really want to be and how they're going to stick with their path and what their unique abilities are, that's where it goes wrong from the start. Is that sort of making sense, what I'm saying? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I can absolutely agree with that, and I would like to add one more thing, because I don't want to repeat everything that you say, but one positive thing that we have as women is from society-wise, we are allowed to have fear. Men are not allowed to have fear. Now, you can have fear if you're 5, and maybe the last time in your exams, but once your exams are gone, theoretically you're not allowed to have fear. But fear is what connects us in crisis, because the crisis is there and people are afraid of things, and they're afraid of absolutely different things. I'm like a medium mountain guide as well, so some people are afraid of something that I'm not afraid of, and I'm afraid of something that they would not and never be afraid of. And I think this is a quality in women, that we are allowed to have fear, we are allowed to say that we have fear, and we are allowed to connect with the people to have fear and tell them, okay, it's fine that you're afraid of it. Let's now go to the logic and say, like, are you really going to die because of that? No. Okay, then we don't have to be afraid that much. So what is the worst thing you worry about? So I think this is one thing that actually helps us as women in a crisis, that we are looked at different in the society, so we can actually use that. But we had some men that wanted to say something to the last question. I don't know if it still fits what I told you. We don't forget you. So there are these 2 men there, and then I would like to move on to the next question, please. There was the gentleman in blue and in white, please.
Who was the first?
Well, maybe it comes a topic again that will fit.
The only thing is that you should look at women amongst each other, because there's a lot of backstabbing, and be a man. I mean, if there's an argument between men, we talk about it and that's it. Mm-hmm. Women, they don't lose the argument, and they are gossiping behind each other's back and stuff like that. I don't want to be a generalist here. That's what I see. And another remark about what you said about getting a house when you're single. Move to the Netherlands, we don't have that problem.
Well, too rainy for me. We are not talking about Germany.
That's
so
a woman remark.
But thank you very much, I will consider it.
Thank you. So I've been listening what you're talking, and in this environment, I feel like I'm home, you know. So let me explain why. Colleague and I, we are coming from the country where woman is president. Our boss is woman. We are living in a world where the majority of population are women, right? Is it so? In every country. Sorry, I didn't say it. Slovenia.
Ah.
I thought you knew. So
Clearly we do.
the next thing is, understand, it's you just pinpoint something which is very important.
We move some men over to you. So.
Good. Okay. So let me start from this. I grew up with my mother and my sister. I have 3 daughters with 2 wives.
Poor you.
No, it doesn't end there. So I have been blessed with 3 mother-in-laws. So, you know, I understand. So this is the opportunity to get the best version of myself without knowing it, you know. And the point here is what you said is actually the culture. I teach my daughters to fight every day. So never give up, sometimes even physically. And I'm not joking because I was invited to school to explain why my daughter hit somebody. Now, it was in self-defense. It was in self-defense. So, okay. The thing is, everything starts back home.
Yeah.
So this is the starting point, not only for boys, also for girls. So you teach them how to fight back. I do this with my daughters. The next step is environment. It's the culture where we're living. I was really thinking hard, when was the last time that I had experience that woman was, you know, in a worse position than I am? To be honest, I can't remember. You know, having the president wives and so on. So it's a normal thing, you know. But the thing is, in crisis, the other thing is biological. Who gets more pain in life, man or woman? The pain giving a birth. I didn't have that experience, so I cannot talk about it.
You can have monthly pain. You don't need to have a child that's insufficient, you know.
No. I'm just talking about the level of pain having experience.
Yeah, we have an experience every month with pain. So there you go.
I agree that. So I read this is the highest level of pain, giving a birth.
Yeah.
So men don't experience that, right? So having this, you know, experience how to feel pain actually makes you stronger.
Thank you. And I really love the fact that you actually introduce. Is it very important because you introduced the next section so well? Well, can we move you to the next section? Yes, because
loads of comments possible.
Yeah.
Nå har jeg en liten jobb til dere. Jeg tenkte at dere skulle putte de blå ballene i den ene vasen og de rosa i den andre.
Okay. Skal vi ta rosa i den og blå i den da? Nei. Omvendt. Blå i denne.
Men nå skal dere få belønningen deres.
Oi. Hva er dette for noe? Hva er dette for noe?
Ok, og nå kan dere åpne øynene.
Oi. Hva? Jeg fikk
Molly, grunnen til at du har fått mindre enn Thomas, det er faktisk fordi du er jente.
Det er kjemperart. Det er ikke bra. Det er skikkelig urettferdig.
Hva tenker du, Felicia?
Vi har jobbet helt litt, og så får vi ikke det samme. Vi var like flinke, og vi burde få like mye.
Hvorfor det?
Fordi ellers så blir det urettferdig. Det er liksom ikke forskjell på jente og gutt, da. Jeg tenker at det er feil.
Hvorfor er det feil?
Jenter er ikke mindre verdt enn gutter. Det har ikke noe å si hvis man er gutt eller jente. Sånn, jeg tror det er like fint da. Nei. Nå har vi like mye. Nå har vi like mye.
Women sustain the gender pay gap themselves. I introduced my own question, very funny. I really think we are brought to do that at some stage, and specifically if we look into the whole world. There are several studies, and while we have in the whole world 46% of women working, still in management, for worldwide it's 17% and higher management, because most of the women actually work in lower paid jobs. But still, if we do work in higher paid jobs, we do earn less money. And we accept that somehow. So do we want to sustain it? No. But it's really, really difficult to change that on ourselves. And if I look at Europe, if you look at Europe, we have 35% of women in management. If I look at Germany, it's only 29. And thank you for the Swedish, but they were Norwegian. They had 44, which is at the moment the highest one in Europe. Well, I checked a bit around the world as well. So in Africa, it's 25% of women in management jobs, which is very similar to Germany. So I really think, what can we actually do to not sustain it? And there's one topic that I don't think we will have the questions, so I'll just add this topic here because we're too short on time. But there's the point of having quotas. So in Germany, you have the quota of having 30% for all the big companies and as female leaders. And then people say like, yeah, but then the bad women, they get the jobs. But that's not about this. It's actually, if you look at nature itself, if you look at the forest, and you have in a forest only one type of trees, for a huge area, how is something else supposed to grow? And we know that we tend to work better together with people that are similar to us. So if you don't have a quota, if you don't have a critical mass, like you need in a forest, you need a critical mass of trees to have a mixed forest again. That is like what they do in nature all the time. If you don't have a critical mass, it's difficult to mix it. So for the change management, we need support to have a critical mass, to have like the early adopters, to go over these 50%, where then we have an equality in everything that is there on the world, because it's nearly 50% of the world that are women. And we are absolutely missing out on all these chances, on all these things. My best friend, she's a primary teacher. They're always celebrating if they have a man in their team. So also we don't say we want to have 100% women in management. The only thing is we don't know how that in big companies would work, because there's just none. We can't say it will work worse, it will work better, it will work the same. The thing is, we come from one side. We don't have the other example. But I don't imagine that it will work very well. So if we look at all of these things, and we look at the point that, we don't apply for a job that we don't think it's fit, we think, oh, you want to be a manager, you have to work full time. What is full time? It's a man-made thing. If we think about 1850, 80 hours, 60 hours a week was full-time work. Now we don't work that. So thanks to Ford, we have an 8-hour day. And about 1965, it was pretty much that everywhere that we talk about 8 hours and reducing it. If we look at our brains and how we can concentrate for about 5 to 6 hours a day to really work. And then we are like tired. We get tired in a cognitive way. And we just decide it's 40 hours. It's a man-made thing. There is nothing in nature that says, oh, 40-hour week is fine. 8 hours a day is fine. We decide to shape a thing like this, and then we say like, oh, you can't do that if you want to work part-time. You can't be a manager if you want to work part-time. And I think we really need the environment where we say like 40 hours is just, they took it out of the sky. And you can decide, okay, this job is fine with 20 hours, this job is fine with 25 hours. You can separate these things. And I think there are so many environmental things, and you have a lot of women that also say, oh, no, well, if you want to make a career, you have to work full-time. Honestly, you don't have to work full-time. What is full-time? What is the definition of it? And there's like Lasse Reingans, his company is working for full payment 5 hours a day, and they have the same results. And that's since 2017. I was a manager in Deutsche Bahn. He was visiting us. And I heard about this, but funny enough, in the reality, even though they invited us to be trained to understand how our brain works, if I go back to reality, 80% of the managers think differently. So, and it's, of course, technical thing, there are a lot of men, but it's also us women that actually think that we have to work full-time to be eligible to be a manager. No, it's man-made, it's not real. Sorry?
Few minutes.
Yeah. 5 minutes. Okay. Well, we were allowed to move over for the last question yesterday. But I hand over, please.
I hear still a lot of the problem is this and the problem is that and all that stuff. And I'm with that lady over there who says, well, okay, if we want to really systematically do something about this, we can't just bitch about it. Does that make sense? Yeah, we already talked about some benefits that we have as women as well. So what are the systematic things that seem to work? We saw a little video from Norway. Something is working there, right? Like if you look at the statistics. We heard Silvana and some of the other contingent talk from the Eastern European part. What they're talking, and some of you may have missed it, I don't know, but you started yesterday talking to us about, in the communist system, everybody is equal. So that's what this is about. Hey, it's I don't promote the communist system, but I'm saying something was working in that equality thing in the home, right? So we need to start with the basics. Once again, if we teach and show our boys good leadership examples, or what do you call that, role models, of the type of girlfriend or wife they might want. Do they want a girlfriend that is obedient and sit there and get paid 40% less? Because it's 40% in the financial sector in Australia, by the way, that a female gets paid less for the same job. If we show that to our boys and say, do you want to be that kind of husband? Or, hey, there's a great example of, there's a relationship. I try to be that with my partner to my 4 stepkids, that they see, oh wow, Rinske is doing all the running around and doing the presentations on the stage. Hey, that's actually nice to have a girlfriend like that. I can be proud of that. And that comes to, I think, the gentleman at the back who shared earlier from, I don't know, where are you from? Where did you say?
Rwanda?
From Nigeria. Very important how you presented your wife as, hey, I can look good because I have a wife like that. And that's what this stuff is about. If we show our kids who actually don't need to be taught that much because they already feel it before they get blurred by the system. The kids already know it. So there's not that much to fix about humans. It's actually there. That balance is already there. We have to stop blurring it with the wrong messages. And that's probably where that school and in the family where it comes in. Can I add a little bit more about this pay gap? So systematic changes are things where we say, okay, it's illegal, for example, to tell your employees, I'm going back to Australia, right? I started a job, I entered a job there. I had to sign in my employment contract 2 new things that I'd never seen in Europe before. One was, what you get paid, you're not allowed to disclose to your colleagues.
You can get that in Germany too.
What the F is that? In Holland, that was the coffee machine conversation. How much are you on? 50,000. I'm on 53. Why would that be? I do less work than you. I'm going to talk to the boss about it. That was the normal thing. In Australia, it was, no, you're not allowed to disclose what you get paid. And the second thing was, pay increases would land on your little doormat at the end of the year before you had your performance review. I was like, so I got 2%. And I know I overachieved this year, and my boss would happily say that 2 weeks later, oh, you did so much better than expected. Well, where did that reflect in the pay increase? So all these questions, we're not allowed to ask about that sort of stuff. So until the colleague had left. So what I did is I had a little conversation with every colleague that left, male colleagues especially, and I said, can you tell me what you got paid when you're my colleague, right? He said, I was on 140,000 something dollars. I was like, what? I didn't know, So these systematic things, they're relatively easy to fix. If we say, really, everybody should agree that should be illegal to have that all hidden under the carpet. So these are the sort of ingredients I'm looking for. Yeah, because if those things, if we can then mobilize people with also some humor and a smile on our face instead of this battle vibe that is around this topic, Do you know what I mean? Like that's important. And all the fathers and the brothers in this room agree, right? It's a societal thing. It's not a women's issue, this thing. Yeah. It's a societal thing. So.
Okay, I think it's time for final word because it's 11 o'clock. So we agree that at the end we will say something, some advices to younger self.
1 second. Can everybody close their eyes? Because I'm going to flip to the last question and you're going to be dizzy. Because we had so...
But
no,
before that, before going there, I just want to say something that Emil mentioned. It's really, really important. We have to support each other, not compete. It's really important. That's right. Yeah. So that's something that I wanted to emphasize, and all other things that we need support, and that from men be partner, open the door to some opportunities and so on, definitely is true. But my advice to myself would be, don't wait that someone invite you to lead. You can do everything you want. You have everything you need within you, so inside you. So you belong to every room where you walk into. So all opportunities can be taken. You can do it. Even if not, if there will be some mistakes, it's fine. It's not a big problem. We don't have to be scared. Thank you.
Sorry, I know we're running out of time.
We were allowed to go a bit over time.
Thank you. I've never asked this question, so generally I don't ask. So I think that was a great presentation, great discussion. I think one of the advice or the input that I will give in this particular forum is that the society is dominated by male. We can't argue about it, which means in PECB conference, as of next year, if we can have one session where we can have everyone come into session like this, that's where we can make big difference.
Yeah. I think this is a great point, and can we agree on that? Because we do have so many more questions, as you just saw. We flipped through on topics that we want to want to discuss.
It's simple. The title of it's not there, but the title of this session was something like Women's Meetup, but it should be, Meetup about this super important societal issue. Advice to my younger self, that's the last question. I guess make what I do visible. Don't just do the perfect job and have someone else be shining with that thing, whether it's male or female. Yeah, that's really important. So, and see things a little bit more like, learn from the men. See it a little bit more like a game. When I see my male colleagues and my male clients go to work, and there's a bit of a battle, just like you said, you have a bit of a fight or whatever, and then you get on with another beer and just move on. We don't have that ingredient maybe naturally, but we can learn it. We can say, I'm also going to go to work, and see it a bit more like a game. So things go wrong, things go right, I'm keeping my smile on it and move on. And don't just become, I have to maintain these female qualities of constantly caring about everybody and everything constantly to that degree, because it doesn't sometimes work for you in all environments. Maybe with your family, but maybe not at work. Yeah, so that's maybe another final ingredient from my side.
Thick-skinned. You learn to be thick-skinned.
Yeah.
Thick-skinned a little bit more. Yeah.
So what I would advise to myself is actually pursue your own dream, the dream that you have, that you think you can actually do it, because this is what is our real prosperity. You hear so often, we are blessed, like the way we live, that we can study and everything like this, but only because we have something good, we don't have to compare to only things that some other people are missing. But for everybody, the dream is something else. For one person, it's having a big family. For the next person, it's having a career. For somebody, it may be having both of it. So I think pursue your dream. And I remember even my very long-term relationship, I didn't cook in the beginning. I went from Eastern Germany, everybody's equal, to Western Germany. And I was like, I loved cooking just because I prefer my own food. And I was like, no, but if I do that, I kind of like signalized to my Western German partner that I'm the perfect housewife that he has grown up around. Because, for example, his mother never went to work. And I was like, no, you can't do that. Which is like, no, you don't have to do that. You can love to cook, even if you love to have your job, even if you love to do that. If you don't like to cook, just don't cook. I think this is really just do what you're like and what you want to do, because this is really what we press for about. And support women and men. I had one guy, he went on parental leave for 1.5 years. And he always asked me, can I stay longer? So like, sure, no problem. Just tell me when it's fine for you and your family that he can come back. And this is the way. And another guy got promoted while he was on parental leave, like one of my employees. And I was like, yes, I did that. I did that because he was the best before in this job and I got the opening. And I did that because he wanted to be there with his children. It didn't matter. And if it would have been a woman, it would have been 100% the same. And another advice that I give to myself is, there are some people I find attractive, like my partner, but all the rest at work, they're just humans. For me, they don't have any sex, they don't have nothing. They might have funny, lovely clothes or whatever, but for me, it's just like, they're just different as a human person, or as like, we could even say, like a mammal. But they're like, they don't have any sexuality at work. It doesn't exist for me. So I would say like, yeah, this is good. So I would say to my young self, think of this from the very beginning, not only after 3 years of working. Okay.
We can wrap up formally, but if people are...
You want to wrap up formally?
But if anyone wants to add, people can hang around as well.
Yeah, we can hang around for discussion, but we add up formal.
Okay. So thank you, everyone. Yeah, there are one comment there and one here.
They need coffee as well, right?
Yeah.
First now, and who wants to go, you can just leave.
Thank you very much for the presentation, but I would like to take over from what we said about culture and property. This is something funny, a fact that happened to me. I just don't want to hurt somebody, but years ago, me and my husband wanted to buy a condo in Venezuela. So we went there, we bought it, and do you know what is on the title deed?
Only him?
It is written Margarita and otro, y otro, which means Margarita and other, and no other name is there. So obviously Venezuelan society understand correctly. It's I don't want to hurt males here, but just think of it.
Yeah.
This is.
Anyway, women tend to live longer.
I just encourage everyone to join women in business and women in security groups, because last week I was in Athens for the Cyber for Women conference, and it was just amazing, the quality of the talks that were there, highly technical talks. It was just a great community. There was men there, there was women there, mainly women, but just to get involved with those types of groups, if you're in that space, and whatever space you're in, you'll find women's groups as well. And it's not that, it's just a way of, we can't fix everything, but we can certainly support, especially younger women coming in. Like I got a call today from somebody, a woman who is doing an interview next week, and she just wants, a few tips of how to, excel at her interview. And that type of support, because a lot of it, we're talking about mentoring. You don't only have to have a woman as a mentor. If you're going to advance in your career, men can mentor you too, and then you'll be in that space for the women that are coming up. And you don't only have to mentor women as a woman, you can mentor men as well. Okay, and that's part of it, because we're seen as experts in our field, not just women experts in our field. So there's women for cyber, there's WESAs, there's lots of that's another group as well. But you know, your own countries will have groups as well. And if you want to get in touch with me, please feel free.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you talked about it being a game. Of course, it's a game. I mean, you are not going to a university or college from 9 to 5. It's a corporate world. It's a cutthroat world. So, of course, it's a game. But at the same time, you should be able to, you should understand that this is purely a knowledge-based industry. The person who has the knowledge will be able to claim anything regarding what you talked about, parity in terms of pay parity thing. So if a guy, irrespective of whether a man or a woman, if he's got the knowledge in the knowledge-based industry, he's the one who's going to be having an upper hand. At the same time, you should also remember the difference between equality and equity. I mean, equality is something that you give training to all the employees in the organizations, while equity is something, if you are feeling that you are a minority group, the women in the organizations, then that equity is going to address that minority group by some specialized training or some mentoring sessions or this thing. So, I mean, we should not blur the distinction between equity and equality. And lastly, I mean, my experience with women working is that most of the women prefer men as their boss. They said, we don't want to report to I don't know what is the dynamics, whether the women pull the women down themselves or, but most of them, they had a... I don't know that. No? Sorry.
Thank you. There's one more.
I can conclude that actually everything depends on the person.
Yeah.
Regardless of gender, some personality.
I just want to leave you with an experience that I had when I first started working. So I left New Zealand and went to Greece, to Athens, started working my first job in Athens. Now we're talking about 30 years ago. One of the first people that I worked with, a gentleman, he wanted to put in a job description, and we advertised for a job, for a position, and he said to me, and this is something I will never ever forget, and it's stuck with me for years. The man's deceased now, God rest his soul, but anyway. He said, I will only employ women who are solo mothers because they need the job and they will do whatever we want.
No way.
That is what he told me. And this was me as a young girl going into a new job in a new country. And that's something that stuck to me, that stuck with me. And I thought to myself, I will never be like that. And I will never teach my children to be like that.
Yeah. This is terrible. Yeah. Like, that is such a terrible thing. But I mean, honestly, I'm thinking I'm like 45 now. I was like, okay, another 5 years and I'm like the best employee. I don't have children. I can't get them anymore. So nobody is afraid that I have to stay home too much. So, but yes, but this is absolutely something. Wow. That's like slavery in the modern world. They need the money, they need the children, they'll do everything you like. Oh my God. I wouldn't want to work for that guy.
He had 2 daughters. He had no sons. He was a father of 2 daughters.
Imagine how these daughters grow up.
Sorry, I'm on the next panel. So
Oh, okay.
Thanks, everyone.